What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's me, your favorite monotone YouTuber, back on the grind. As you can see in the background, we're picking up right where we left off in the last episode, where I was trying to assemble an enchanting station, because I need good tools if I want to build my base. Because, let me tell you, excavating giant swaths of dirt and stone with iron tools is way too time consuming, and I'm not about that. So yeah, as you can see in the background, I'm just getting together the things necessary, and basically there's a lot of just random clips that I've thrown together. So in the meantime, because you've all played Minecraft before, I assume, and you know how it works, so I don't really need to explain it. In the meantime, I will be telling a story. So, once upon a time, I went to Japan with my family because I am Japanese, and you know, it's kind of necessary that I go back every once in a while because part of my family lives there. So, I was in first grade. This was 12 years ago now. And so I was like 5 or 6, just so everyone's clear. So we went back to Japan, and I had a good time there. I saw a lot of things. I went to this huge like toy store, and I don't know if anyone knows something called Gundam, but I used to be super into that when I was younger. It was basically like a Japanese, I guess, anime, and it had all these big robots and guns. It was pretty cool. But anyways, so yeah, we went to like a toy store. I saw the place where my brother was born, I think. I don't really remember. And then we got to ride the bullet trains. It was a good time. Japan is a cool place if you're a child or if you're Japanese, because I'm pretty sure foreigners might not have the greatest time there, but who knows. Uh, but anyways, so at one point in the trip, we decided to make, a visit to Hiroshima just to pay respects. And Hiroshima itself was, it was really an interesting place to be at because at the time I didn't really understand what had happened there. I just, I knew that it had been bombed, but I didn't really realize the, you know, horror behind the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which actually I think might have been, I think today might have been Nagasaki, and then a few days ago was Hiroshima. So, I don't know. But, anyways, so after we visited the actual site, like one of the buildings, uh, we went around to the edges and went to the places that have been rebuilt since the bombing. And, like the hyper intelligent child I was, I decided, hey, let's get some food. So we went and got food. Uh, but again, since I'm so bright, I was like, what would be a great food combination is ice cream and oysters. And I don't mean like I ate oysters and then, 20 minutes later I ate ice cream. I mean I ate them like concurrently, which sounds absolutely horrifying in retrospect, and I really don't know what I was thinking. But, the mind of a 5 or 6 year old is gonna be strange, and I was an enigma. So I got my oysters and my ice cream, and I had them, and I'm pretty sure I hated the oysters, but you can't really hate ice cream even if you're lactose intolerant like me. All was well and good, I had my oysters, I had my ice cream, I was happy. So we went back, we got on the train to go back to our hotel. I was just standing there on the train, or it was a subway actually, it was on the subway, and I was just like thinking about it. I was like, man, this is great. And then I just like stood there for a second, my mind completely blank, and I just threw up everywhere. Oysters and ice cream, I just threw up everywhere, and it was absolutely horrifying. And I'm sure you've seen pictures of Japan, and you know how much they care about, personal hygiene. So everyone's wearing masks, and everyone's super, like, even when there's not a quarantine, they're like distant. So you can imagine the horror of this little half white boy throwing up everywhere on the subway as the, peaceful Japanese businessmen and women looked on in horror. So, yeah, that's really my only memory that's like strong of Japan. Like I remember I went to the toy store. I remember I went all these places, but my strongest memory is of throwing up in Hiroshima after eating some demonic combination of foods. But yeah, for the most part, I have fond memories of Japan, just because somewhere in my subconscious, I know I had a good time there, even though my only true memory is of something not so fun. Uh, but yeah, you know, being Japanese is an interesting experience. Uh, you know, whether by design or, by coincidence, most of my friends are also Asian of some sort. Uh, but, I feel like I have kind of a different experience than a lot of my friends because I'd say, for the most part, despite my father being Japanese, I really don't have the same kind of, extreme pressures to succeed academically. Like, obviously, you know, he's my dad, so of course he's gonna want me to succeed and do well, but he's not gonna, like, force me to study and then, like, beat me if I don't get A pluses. Uh, I feel like a lot of my friends have a much different experience where their parents are, super, super invested and they really want them to do well in school. I don't know. Leave a comment. I'd be really curious to hear what your guys' home environment is like, whether or not you have a similar or different background, because, I really like mine. I think there's a good balance of, you know, being strict and giving me enough freedom so that I don't feel oppressed. And, being strict so that I don't become lazy, or more lazy than I currently am. Just so you guys are aware, I'm not scripting this. I'm literally just speaking and I'm talking as things come to my mind. So if it sounds unprofessional, that's because it is. And also, I'm terrible at commentary, and I apologize for that, but, I'm gonna do the best that I can. But yeah, I would really appreciate it if you guys left some, conversation topics or random questions you have about me down in the description below. It can literally be anything. I mean, except for like my social security and stuff like that, I'm perfectly happy to answer whatever questions you guys have. So leave them down below. Uh, you know, just hang out, have a good time. I'm curious to see what life was like for you guys because I'm always open to hearing about other people's experiences, as I feel like mine is, fairly unique. Anyways, as you can see in the background, I've just been putting a bunch of time lapses of me putting together my house. I probably in the future if I'm building something this big, I'm gonna try to get all the materials together beforehand. Because, as you've probably been able to tell, or maybe it hasn't happened yet, but there are a lot of different little time lapses in this house building process because I kept running out of materials and I had to, run off and gather them and then come back. So in the future, I'll try to be a little bit more prepared so that you have less whiplash as I suddenly go from one camera angle to the next. But yeah, the amount of footage that was in this episode, I originally had planned to build the entire house, like, or at least the entire exterior with all the details and stuff in this episode, but it ended up being like 6 to 8 hours of footage that I had to, trim down to 10 minutes, or however long this video is. So I decided that I'll save some of the detail work and finishing up the exterior and potentially the interior for the next video. So look forward to that. I imagine it'll be sometime in the next week, but since my college is starting soon, I really don't know. But I like the direction this house is moving. I think it looks pretty decent for a starter home. I had originally intended to build a replica of the Hearthfire houses from Skyrim, but I don't know, some of the colors and details were kind of weird, and I really didn't know how to translate that to Minecraft. So I kind of just went freestyle and built this. It kind of has the same shape as a Hearthfire house, where it has, like the entryway, the main building, and then the 3 wings. So, you know, it's kind of the same. Yeah, and I'm sure you saw that. That zombie, I heard it, but I thought it was below me, and as soon as it jumped down, I literally jumped and swore in my room. I wish I was recording live there. That might have been funny. Yeah, but anyways, I'm just finishing up some little details here to add a little bit more of, or a little bit more detail to the roof, because if it's all the same, then that's kind of boring. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Look forward to the next one. Like I said, hopefully it'll be up in the next week or so. Uh, I don't really have an upload schedule that is consistent, but I'll try to pump these out as fast as I can. Yeah, but if you're still watching at the end of this video, hi. Thank you for watching the entirety of it. I appreciate that. If not, I don't blame you. My commentary is probably not the best, but I'm gonna leave you guys here. I think we got a lot of good work done in this episode, and I hope we'll be finishing up the house in the next one. So, thank you and goodbye.